Welcome, everybody. My name is Jeremy Fletcher. I'm the Quality Assurance Administrator in the State Roadway Design Office. I'm here to present to you some of the changes that we made to the 2021 FDOT Design Manual, specifically related to FDM Chapter 122. FDM 122 covers everything you want to know about design exceptions and variations. Design exceptions are places within your designs that don't meet AASHTO or DOT criteria for the most part, and then design variations are places where you can meet AASHTO criteria but typically can't meet the department criteria. How you document these will vary based on the required documentation and based on the level of detail commensurate with the project. Certain complex projects require a little more detail, and certain minor projects require a little less sometimes. With that said, I'll move forward. Many of the changes we made this year have been fairly minor in comparison to years in the past. One of the big changes is that we are moving from the old way of reviewing crashes, which was focused primarily on a subset of crash data, for instance, 2012 to 2017, or 13 to 17 rather, and moving toward getting the most recent crash data that's available within the CARS system. The CARS system is the database that's stored by the Department of Transportation, which was filled with data that comes from the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles. We take the data that comes from the Highway Safety and Motor Vehicle Office, vet that data based on location and any other aspects of the crash that maybe need to be adjusted depending upon the situation. And so that takes typically a few months, if not sometimes a year, to go through those crash forms. And designers use those crash forms to establish, any kind of safety issues or to determine whether there aren't any safety issues related to a particular design element or a particular design location. One of the big things here in Chapter 1, Section 122.4, there we changed. Instead of saying that we look at a minimum of 5 years of crash data, we want to look at 5 years of crash data from the current date of analysis. So if you're doing an analysis, say here in 2020, you want to analyze crashes from the date you sign and seal it all the way back 5 years. Most of that data is typically available in the system, and a lot of times designers don't have specific access to that, but you can request those from your design or safety office at the districts. So this is a big change. We want to make sure that we're getting the most current crash data available for a particular given area. This was also updated in the section on design variations memorandums. Design variation memorandums also need to include this, and the note was updated accordingly for that section. Here's a minor edit that we made to section 122.4. Design variation memorandums should include and be presented in the format of succinct bullets, obviously to the greatest extent possible, but we felt like this was just more of a grammar edit. We do want to keep memorandums and design variations limited in nature with regards to the level of documentation that goes in, but also include the most important items, the crash reviews, the criteria discussions, and any pertinent information that may be important to someone reviewing the variation. Additionally, changes made to some of the mitigation sections were the changes in differentiation for object markers and tubular markers. There were some minor changes made, I believe, to the specifications and possibly the standards that differentiates tubular markers and object markers separately, and we went in and updated with accordingly. Here's the section for shoulder width that was updated to include object markers. Section 122.6.1 of the FDM was updated to reflect that the new average crash costs derived from the years 2013 to 2017. They were previously derived from values between 2012 and 2016. These are based on location verified crashes that are processed in the State Safety Office. These numbers don't change a whole lot from year to year because the value of a human life is not really adjusted from a national standpoint very often. And so as a result, your benefit costs aren't really going to change if you use a previous year versus the next year. And we don't typically see a lot of change in these over the years. But as a result, we would like to use the latest and greatest available crash information that we have. Obviously, we want to use crashes when we're reviewing them from a design standpoint or a safety standpoint up to the day of the design, as I mentioned before. But crash costs you want to use when you're doing your benefit costs, use the values from this table depending upon what type of facility you have. If it's a little unclear, a little bit hybrid or of a hybrid situation, you may want to use this the average cost per crash. We are working on developing a more robust online system that you can get up to the date crash information, and when those become available, we'll let you know. But for now, we want to use this table 122.6.1 to develop all benefit costs. Additionally, we added some footnotes to the CABCO crash costs. These are the breakdowns of costs based on the type of crash. If you have a fatality, that crash costs society about $10.7 million, whereas a property damage only crash costs $7,700. These values are necessary in all predictive analyses and specifically highway safety manual analyses. With that said, that kind of concludes most of the major changes for FDM Chapter 122 for the 2021 FDM. If you have any questions, feel free to give us a call at any time at the following numbers, and we can help you along in the process. Thank you again for your time.